Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It lives. Man, that thing looks best just stand there. Love it. So we finished up our our XXT. Man, maybe I was doing too many burnouts here as a drifter. I haven't glued the tires yet. I just got them on the rims just to see how everything would mount up. I still got to punch the holes in them to vent them out. Man, I forgot how big tires were for these things. But Nick's XXT is done. We have everything aligned, and I think I have a few surprises on this girl. So, man, it looks sick just sitting there. So, was able to put in some long hours and finish this up, and I really had a hard time. How would you say this? I had to go all out on Nick's truck. So I don't know if you remember our B3 build, but we had our B3 and we also had a donor B3. And then after the donor B3, we were done with it. We just sold that thing along onto eBay and called it good because, in my opinion, it was too far gone to really get back. And we're really kind of almost in the same situation here with our donor XXT. I was going to build two, and I was like, oh, I'll send, Nick his, and then I'll have one. And I looked and I was like, man, I got to build Nick's truck the exact way that I would build it using my B3 theory, right? Use all the best parts we can, put it on this, whatever's left is left. And like I said, just in the end, it's not going to be, I don't know. It's got some cool stuff. It's got like the lightweight outdrives, but the transmission is just like grinding. I've taken apart, I've cleaned it, I redid the diff. It's still horrible. So I'll show it to you here. But anyway, let's talk about this bad boy. So our XXT is done. We got all of our electronics in here. We got the infamous surplus rocket. We got obviously we acetone the rims, got the old tires off. New tires are on here. Do have several sets over in the box over there. So I will probably acetone those as well. And like I said, I still got to glue these up, but we'll glue up the Proline tires here. Get these ready. Moore's redoing the track, so there's no real racing until later, probably Wednesday. And then we're going to do a little 13.5 stadium truck call out there, see who wants to run their trucks against this bad girl. So, like I said, I am pretty impressed with how well it turned out. It looks great. So, without further ado, let's get into this bad boy. So, one thing I did do is I couldn't sleep with myself. I couldn't take the strap. So what I did was I took the graphite top plates off. I gotta screw those down a little bit, but I took the graphite top plates, battery brace, put the foam in there, got everything in there. So now our layout is legit. We got plenty of room to move that shorty battery, either forward, back for weight distribution, for any handling, and yeah, that should be good to go. The ESC, I didn't cut any of the wires just in case Nick wants to change anything. The plug wire or the battery wires are, I just soldered them on, and then same with the motor wires with our surplus rocket. Just looped those around, ran those in there, ran a 200 millimeter sensor wire, and like I said, this is how I would have done it anyway. Obviously, I haven't set any of the ride height or anything, but little riding low in the back there. May have to bump that up and try to lower the front a little bit. But all of our RPM cups turned out great. Couldn't really find a servo more when I was there. So, I got my speed controller, got some other stuff I needed at more to get this thing ready, and I ordered a Savox servo off of Amazon, which they're not my favorite, but they work. So 1257. Did redo the steering linkage to be RPM, which lined up almost perfectly. So it's almost like a full throw there as far as like the arm itself. There's no space in between where it can bend or anything. The arm screw, the RPM short studs screw right together, and they're the exact length for the silver horn to be straight up and the steering to be straight forward. So yeah, finished her up. Like I said, all new bearings, all that. Did switch out to the Dragon Punch rear T-plate on there. And the fit's pretty good. The countersunks aren't as good as I think they should be. And I'm too lazy to countersink them, so I'm just going to put chassis tape on here to protect that while we run it. I do have some more stainless screws coming, so I can switch out the non-stainless screws because I need non-stainless screws for our junkyard XXT, as we'll call it. But yeah, our XXT is all together, and I think it turned out great. I think it's going to be a pretty good truck to run and get some use out of. And yeah, I mean, rebuilt the shocks. They don't seem to be leaking at all. The pink springs on there are kind of the setup way to go, I think. And like I said, we'll lower the front a little bit, and we'll raise the back here a little bit and get this thing leveled out. But other than that, everything went together really well. And like I said, I think the only thing I may do, and I'm debating about it, is whether or not I put the lightweight outdrives on Nick's truck. So this is kind of his original transmission that I just rebuilt using the standard outdrives. I mean, that diff is like super smooth. So that's one reason I kind of don't want to do anything, is like that diff is, oh, that's money. Have our slipper unit in there, 26 TLR pinion. Which we may have to go down to like a 24 or 25 on there as well. So, man, I was really drifting this thing around. You know, you got to test these things out before you bring them on camera, right? It can't be like hacking this thing together. So, but it's brought, I don't know, if you can see me now, I have a pretty big smile on my face. This has brought back a lot of great memories. Just a cool truck, and like I said, everything really turned out really well on it, especially when we're able to grab parts. And like I said, I grabbed the graphite shock tower because this is how I would build my XX, and that's what I told Nick and everybody on this channel, like, hey, I'm gonna build it. I'm gonna build it how I would have built it. And this is exactly how I would have built it. With the front Trinity brace, the rear Trinity brace in the back. As well, all the arms and stuff were in pretty good shape. Like I said, I'm just gonna switch out some of the stainless hardware, get some more stainless hardware on here, get rid of the tired old screws because I don't want them to break on there. But Savox servo in there for our steering, and like I said, our steering is nice and smooth. And then we do, I don't know why, but the 15.5 factory team associated servo horn fits great in there. It lines up the link and it doesn't hit the top brace support. It is close, but it doesn't hit it. So that worked out great. That's what we run on our XX buggy as well. So put that on Nick's XXT, and like I said, didn't really spare much of any expense pimping this thing out, because like I said, I'm building it how I would have built it, and I think it turned out great, and I think it's going to be a good runner too. So we just got to do some alignment, check our caster, camber, front and back, glue the tires up. All the endpoints and stuff are set. I was kind of running through my FlySky radio to get it set up, and that looks pretty good. So the really only thing I think we need to do, like I said, is just glue the tires up, and then I can get kind of a better idea of camber and caster on these, because I have a little positive camber and I have a little negative camber on the back on this one, so need to level those out, even though I kind of measured them up. The Technocraft tie rods are awesome. So Nick's got a pretty cool truck, and like I said, a lot of this stuff was Nick's to begin with. So I think there's only a couple items on here that I really salvaged from our donor truck, which was the pink springs. The shocks and stuff were all Nick's. They weren't leaking. I just kind of went through, rebuilt them, cleaned them up. And the tie rods were the Technocraft. It had RPM ball cups, but they were all wore out, so I just replaced those. Steering rack's all original. Just like I said, new studs on there. Use the Dragon Punch titanium studs, but it's his chassis. I mean, a lot of it is, like I said, original to the truck that Nick sent. Just really cleaned up really well. And like I said, we use parts from our donor Double XT to complete this at what I would consider a level that I'm happy with. Because, like I said, the strap, even though I have the strap on the Double X buggy, with the carbon top decks and everything, I was like, man, even though the strap has a bow to it, obviously, I put foam underneath because the channel on the Double X chassis, it's kind of stepped. And so I put 1/8 foam all along the bottom to help support the lipo so it wasn't sitting cockeyed or anything. And then we get a little bow in our battery strap, but no big deal because it's plastic and it can bow on there. But that holds it in a lot more securely. I just felt that was much, much better. You know, the strap being right here would have covered our plugs. So I made the executive decision to grab everything we could off the junkyard Double XT and get it onto Nick's. And like I said, this is what I would race. So I am gonna post up something on Moore's Facebook, see when the next 13.5 Stadium truck race is, and we're gonna get this thing out there and running. Because like I said, all I got to do is glue the wheels. I'll glue those this week as I'm doing some other things, and this thing will be ready to go. We'll, like I said, revise the right height. I'm going to drop the front and then raise the rear just a tad to level this out, and we'll see where that gets us on there. But yeah, that is it for the Double XT build. Like I said, I think it turned out great. I got some spare wheels and stuff. I'll talk to Nick, see if he wants an extra set, and then I'll bring it over here. You got to see this. You need to see that motor or the speed controller. But this was the truck I was originally going to kind of build for myself. But the more and more I got through this thing, like the steering is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of shoddy. Everything was rusted out. I mean, the hinge pins are all rusted. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. I took Nick's top deck. So these two top decks, like I said, I switched them out because this one had the 2 graphite and then it had the battery bar. So I took that as far as the battery hold down on this. And it does have like, titanium turnbuckles. It's got U-joints, and you can see on the back, it's got the lightweight outdrives. And the only problem is, God damn that. I mean, it feels awful. I mean, the diff feels awful and notchy. The transmission feels crap. The motor plate's like bent. It's without someone making parts, it's gonna be a major overhaul on this thing. And it's kind of like, I guess, the debate when I had, the B3 and I was building the B3 and I had the junkyard B3 that we threw out there is, how much do I want to sink into this thing? Or do I just want to let it go and let it be someone else's project? And I think that's what I'll do. For me, like I said, the Losi XXT does have a special place in my heart because it was kind of the first competitive race truck that I raced. And it's actually the only car I raced until I got back in the hobby, years ago or whatever, when I moved to Denver. But when I went to college, my XXT was the truck that I raced. Cause Stadium truck was just all the rage. Um, and like I said, just to try to find the parts to build this to my standard, uh, it is going to be long and arduous. So, the bigger thing for me is I think just getting the chance to drive one again is awesome. So I can't thank Nick enough for volunteering to send his truck. And you guys realize, so, I don't know how much that truck means to Nick. I mean, it could have a huge amount of sentimental value to him. It may not have any. I don't know, and really, it's none of my business. So Nick volunteered to send it over. We got to build it. We get to race it. It's brought back a lot of great memories for me. So I think that's been the most enjoyable part. And like I said, just a smile on my face from running it will be enough. And I tend to move on from projects. So like I built my B5. I thought that was the greatest rear motor car ever. I started running my B3 and my RC10s, and I just liked running those more. So I sold my B5 the other day on eBay because I forgot I had it on eBay and I was going to pull it off, and I never did. And so I'm going to do like a little spring cleaning in the RC collection here. I got a lot of stuff stacking up, so I don't need another one. But this was an awesome project. It was a lot of fun. It was probably one of the funnest, I don't know if you want to say like restoration builds or whatever that I've had, because it turned, like I said, it turned out, I can't believe how actually well this thing turned out. As far as the parts and stuff, because like I said, it wasn't like I was trying to find rear arms, front arms, really weird stuff. I mean, we replaced the front bulkhead with Sabulitech. Nick's wasn't broke. And I'm going to give it back to him. I have parts all over. I got to send back. But, it was an original one, and it was going to break on there. So, yeah, bumper. I mean, man. Like I said, the motor plate on Nick's is a little wore, like just on the back, but at least it's not bent or tweaked or anything. So his is, like I said, his truck's in pretty good shape. So I just gotta make a couple adjustments here, and I think this thing will be good to go. But I did want to get this out because I know a lot of people have been looking forward to what's going on. And like I said, we've done a bunch of 2-wheel drive buggies. We've done some 4-wheel drive buggy stuff with our Yokomos and our 870s. Even though the 91 Works hasn't got out, I am going to start working on the Tamiya this week, because checking my tracking from JC Racing, I should have the arms and wheels in this week. And I did pick up a set of slicks at Moore specifically for the Astute. So that's there. I got my spring package together. That's all there. I just got to order the electronics. Usually I don't get the electronics till I actually get the car all together and everything. But those are easy to get with a quick trip up to Moore. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think below and how this may stack up to our RC10T, which should be coming to the channel here fairly quick. So I've been stacking up parts for that. A bunch of J concepts, the carbon front and rear shock tower, transmission brace, steering set, titanium, tie rods with the RPM bulk cups, just like we have on the Losi here. I did get the Avid steering mount for something that I'm going to put in something. Oh, I'm going to put in my fan graphite. I'm going to take the associated plastic mount and put that in the RC10T. And yeah, should be good. But man, I am excited to see this. I'm probably getting long-winded, but the XXT, like I said, it does have a little special place in my heart, and it is a cool truck. It's everything I remember, and it is cool to have one in hand. And like I said, just to be able to race it. So got our transponder in there as well as our Fly Sky receiver. Got that all mounted up, our endpoint set with our servo, and it's ready to rock. All I got to do is really set the slipper and kind of finish breaking in the diff after, a minor rebuild there, and making sure that's good to go. And then what we'll do is, we'll probably take the junkyard just in case I break apart or I want to change the springs out or something like that. But I remember the pink springs kind of being the way to go out there. So yeah, that is it. for the double XT build. So the next thing you're going to probably see is a running video at more. And like I said, I don't know, 13.5, they kind of do a call out on Facebook, like, hey, who's bringing the 13.5 truck this weekend? You know, or let's run trucks. So I'll do a little call out on more, see if we can get some people here the upcoming weekend and race some stadium truck action and go from there. Our MCI decal should be in because we can't just leave a bare body over there with some drips. Got to get that thing done up, you know, 90s style. So we'll get that on there, and that's about it. And then, like I said, I think I am literally going to just pull the battery out of it, my receiver transponder, and clean it up and put it in a box and send it to Nick. And I don't know what Nick's plans are, but I hope he enjoys it, whatever that might be, if it's sitting on the shelf staring at it or if it's actually getting out and running it, because we'll see how much fun it is to get out there and run this thing in a competitive environment and see how it stacks up against the newer trucks of today. And like I said, I think Moore's a great track for that. You know, it's obviously a smaller track there. So I think that's why the vintage cars actually do really, really well is it's just a smaller track. I mean, the newer cars can't really, I guess, exploit their advantages per se on a smaller track, I think, as much as they could on a bigger track, but who knows? So again, guys, long-winded. Sorry this took so long. Nick, I hope you're happy with your truck. I can't wait to send it to you, but I can't wait to run this and, you know, quad that triple or whatever, because, you know, there's some steam back there with that surplus rocket. So again, like, comment, subscribe down below, and we'll see you on the next one.